Welcome to Fifth Dimensional Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, broadcasting from Los Angeles. Once again, we're here all together on this beautiful sunny day from Southern California. There was a question came up from one of our friends who's been in one of my workshops from Poland, and she asked a really great question, and her question is that how does spirituality mix up and go along with also the desire to make money and manifesting money? And I think it's a very appropriate question by one of our sisters, because this is something that most of us on spiritual path, we struggle with, and struggling with different concepts and ideas of mixing the spirituality with finances. And so overall, the models we have in the mainstream world is that you are out there to work and accumulate materials as much as you can. And that's the mod, especially in American mentality, and that's the model of the norm and the mainstream, that this is all about accumulating as much as possible. So there's a strong attachment and identification with this idea. Then we go to the other side, which is the spiritual world. And of course, we all have heard this, and it raises this question and this idea a lot on the spiritual path, that money is evil. Or a lot of people say, well, I don't want to deal with finances or money or anything. I just wish that I could dedicate my time into being spiritual and do my spiritual practice. So there is a conflict for spiritual people in this area. And I've been there myself, and I've gone through it for a number of years. Until I came to this point of realizing that how you can have one foot in the world of spirit and the other foot in the world of finances, material world, and how you can merge the two together and not have to go through any kind of guilt trips with yourself and conflict with yourself as far as how to operate and be a spiritual being in the material world. So here's my two takes on this. That first of all, let's clear a couple of things here. One of the things we need to clear is that when they talk about renunciation, that the spiritual being should renounce the world. And we're talking about, I mean, in a traditional, let's say, Hindu or the old school that we had in the past, like somebody would take the path of being a monk and being a renunciate. And one aspect of this, what they're doing is kind of superficial. Means that in the apparent world, in physical world, we are renouncing material. So, but that works if you also in your inner world, within yourself, are able to do that. Means that you are capable of dropping your attachment to the material world. Then it works. But if it's only the appearance of renunciation of the material world, but down deep inside, you're looking for whatever angles possible to accumulate some money and or some material or whatever, because ultimately you need some level of comfort in your life, then you're just appearing to be a spiritual person and a renunciate, but inside yourself, you haven't given up and you're extremely attached to your stuff. Now, you could be a rich person, very wealthy, yet you're not really attached to your things, material stuff. You could be a poor person and be extremely attached to what you have, or vice versa, the other way around. Is basically that renunciation is a mental and spiritual thing, that you have arrived at a place within yourself that you are not attached, and you have developed yourself, your consciousness has arisen to a level that you can let go of things when it comes to it. And you're not willing to give up your spirituality and your consciousness and the work you do on yourself, because money has become your God and it's the number one priority. Things, whatever they are. And now things could be even relationship. It could be anything in the material world. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dissect this part by part. And when we're talking about renunciation, that means it's even you have arrived at the place that you develop yourself to get to this point, that you even able to renounce your own body, renounce your mind, your emotions, and your past, and your concepts, and your ideas. And you've been able to free yourself from all of it. You're not hanging on so dearly to any of them and mistaking the material world as your sense of identity of who you are. Now, let's go to the other side of it, where spiritual beings and we are being pulled and being led on this path. We're walking in this direction of spirituality. We're seeking, we're looking, and ultimately we're looking for inner peace and happiness and satisfaction, and finding the balance and equilibrium of living in this world and being on our journey into oneness with the divine being. So that's basically the path and the goal of every spiritual being. Anyone who's on the path, their ultimate goal is to arrive at home. So, but in the meantime, not, or a big majority of people who get pulled on spiritual world, what happens is that the attention and the energy of spiritual people goes into the world of spirit, and consequently their attention goes away from making money or making it in the material world. So the attention has shifted. So a lot of us struggle with finances, and we would like to put our time into going to different retreats, going to different workshops, spending time with the guru, our gurus or spiritual teachers and guides. And so then we slowly take our attention gets diverted from the financial world.